Welcome to the podcast. My name is Chris William. This is Limitless, and my ambition is to teach others of the importance of playing to their strengths and help them achieve success by their definition.
I think I can hear you now. Are you here?
There we go. Welcome to the party, Kayla. How are you doing? Good morning. I could see your mouth. I was like, all right, Kayla, it's if you just want to mute yourself and sit there and look pretty, that's fine. I'll happily.
It was just testing me.
I'll take it from here, Kayla. We both know that I'm not mad about the sound of my voice. How are you doing this fine Monday morning, Kayla?
I'm so good. Do you know what I'm laughing to myself about, right?
Go.
I've been talking shit for so many years and I never ever thought to record it and call it a podcast.
I thought it would take a little longer for you to swear. I thought you might have wanted to warm up first. But if you want to, 100%. If you want to go down that road already, I should probably set the context. Kayla is not a truck driver. For those listening, she's actually a personal trainer is what she is. Despite some of the words she might use during this conversation, she might be able to drive trucks. I don't know, but that is not what she does as a profession, no.
I'm just passionate.
100%. That is very
man.
which is actually, and that's what I want to talk about today. I'm glad you said that because that's to some degree that's actually acted against you. So I'll introduce you first. First and foremost, introducing Kayla. We should have discussed this before we actually got into the podcast. How would you like me to introduce you, Kayla? Because I've got an idea as to how I would introduce you, but
I'll let you take the lead. You can say whatever you want. Nothing to hide.
I consider you one of the hardest working, most talented individuals I've ever come across. And it's not just limited to one thing. Like obviously you're an incredible gymnast, you're an incredible sports model, and you're an incredible PT. You are very good with people. And again, it's the reason as to why you are exceptional at so many things is also to your detriment to some degree. And that's why you are the perfect person to have this discussion with. And that's why I feel like there's a lot of people that are going to benefit from this discussion, given that you have the mindset of a perfectionist, which is fantastic to some degree, but it's also to your detriment to some degree as well.
Yeah, no, totally. I've always said this, it's always been a blessing and a curse to go 0 or 100. It's like my best friend, but my worst enemy. And I'm sure a lot of other people feel the same way.
The mindset you have is, if it's not perfect, it's not worth doing. That's the mindset you've had for an extended period of time, which is, again, it's fantastic, but you often fail to realize, and obviously I have context because I'm on the other side of the phone calls that we have regarding exactly this and that we've had to date, but there are so many things that will influence the likelihood of things being perfect for you that aren't actually in your control. And that is a huge issue. And you tend to be, if things aren't, like you just said it, so if things aren't 100%, you're of the understanding that, it's not worth doing. You tend to throw things to the wind when they aren't 100%. But at times, the reason they're not is not to do with factors you can control. So you'll have people cancel, you'll have people reschedule. It's going to influence your schedule throughout the day. It's going to influence, obviously, the times you're otherwise intending to have meals. You might miss meals. You might not have the opportunity to eat what you're intending to eat, stuff like that. And as I said, that's not necessarily always in your control. And that's a bad perspective to have, provided, again, you're of the understanding that it's not worth doing at all if it's not perfect. Because you do more damage throwing it to the wind than you do just more or less like weathering the storm and doing the best you can considering.
Yeah. Yeah, I even find that it's not even just down the training realm. It's just in every single way, everything I do. Even if it's going on a night out, even going to the gym, either we're doing it, going the hardest and going the best, or not going at all. That's it. It's almost like I'd rather have a no training session than a shit one.
Explain. So I'm going to pull you up there. Explain to me, because I don't know. Obviously, have the context you do. Going all out, night out. What does that actually involve? Explain that to me.
What do you mean?
You said going all out on a night out. That's how.
Yeah.
Explain that to me, Kayla.
Okay, so you're my coach, and you're going to hate this, right?
Oh, that's.
You're my coach, and you're going to hate this, right? But if I'm sitting there and I'm even just having one drink, even just one vodka lime and soda, right? Training's out for the next 5 days because it's just a guarantee that I'm going to go all out and it's going to be really hard to come back from. But then I won't do it again for a really, really long time. Just when I do it, it's just almost like a guarantee. It's just going to go 100. But then it's the same idea. If I walk into the gym for a training session, I know that it's going to be one that I go 100 at because otherwise I wouldn't be there.
100%. But you feel like sometimes having that mentality, it's not, in the scheme of things, it's not all that sustainable because you end up
No.
having, like it's either, because it's either all or nothing, the likelihood of being not 100% is greater than the likelihood of being at, say, 90 or 95. Do you feel like you end up throwing more days to the wind than you otherwise would if you were just trying to do your best no matter what? And for that
Oh,
reason,
absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. So I'm learning the hard way, and like I've still got a long way to go, but like I'm learning to operate at sub maximal so that you can operate over a period of time. And like someone like me, and I'm sure a lot of people are the same, like you can be told all you want and you know better and people can tell you, but we have that personality where we have to learn the hard way and we have to correct ourselves and like slap ourselves on the wrist so many times, then eventually we get it.
To that. She is a slow learner. Given the context I have, 100% I'm not going to disagree with you there. We've had this conversation several times. This is just the first time it's actually been documented, but I think so many instances where again, I'll be discussing with Kayla during a check-in, obviously, like the things that have gone right, the things that have gone wrong. And then the thing that's got, like, for the sake of conversation, she might have a little bit of fruit in addition to what she's been recommended. And then from there, it just snowballs. And the reality is, in relation to fitness, like that little bit of extra fruit, is that going to make much of a difference? No. But is then throwing it to the wind going to have a profound impact? Yes. You can bring undone a little bit of fruit might bring undone half of your deficit that day. Sorry, if you're ambitious to lose weight, throwing it to the wind could bring undone a week's worth of work. And the reality is, it's very hard to be like it. Obviously, the longer it's but a matter of time before things don't go right. It's very hard to be 100% for a week, let alone 2 weeks, let alone a month. It doesn't work like that. So if you're bringing, the reality is, like, if you look at it mathematically. And I'll take it from here. If you look at if you look at that, if you're completely throwing away 2 whole days per week because they just weren't absolutely perfect, and you're bringing undone effectively 3 days worth of work with those 2 days, you end up treading water. So you might be perfect 5 days a week, but you're not actually progressing because, as I said, you're bringing a week's worth of work undone with just those 2 days by throwing it to the wind. Whereas if you 5 every day of the week, you're still going to progress. You might not progress at the rate you would at 100, but you will. Well, generally you won't progress at all if your mentality is all or nothing. But you would still progress to a much greater degree. It's more important. Perfection doesn't actually exist. That's what a lot of people can't actually get their heads around. It doesn't exist. It's consistency is more important than perfection, and that's obviously what you're learning, and that's what you're coming to terms with.
Yeah, I feel like that's where like a lot of people that struggle with binging go wrong as well. I think because like in their head they've gone, I'm going to be perfect for this long, I'm not going to binge anymore. And it's like so set in their head that they're not going to do it. Where as soon as they have like one little thing that's off, that's when a whole big binge out happens. And like it's such a blur to them. Like they don't really remember what happened or like how much they ate. But yeah, in the back of their head, they're just like, oh, I failed, so I'm here now. Keep going.
Word for it, and you haven't. Like they feel like they've let themselves down. They feel guilty, and they eat. They're feeling guilty, and the reason they eat is they don't even realize as to why they're doing it. Basically, they feel good eating because sugar more or less influences insulin. Insulin influences serotonin. So you actually feel good while you're doing that. But what you're actually you're doing the thing that you're feeling guilty regarding. So it's a great cycle. Is basically what it is. And you've obviously suffered with that. That's something you still struggle with. So many people do. They really, really do. And often. Like, triggers it is minute. Like with you, what would often trigger those sort of instances? It wasn't big. It would never be big.
Yeah, no, like it would always be like something so small. I reckon that like if, let's say somebody didn't take enough time out for themselves for the day, it's kind of their way of like losing control. Or if they've tried to work too hard lately, or they've tried to be too focused and like everything's been so scheduled and controlled, it's kind of like their way to lose control for a little bit. And it's not intentional, but I think that's just how they let go.
Exactly right. It's a release. And we all need those things. Those things don't necessarily have to be, they don't have to compromise your goals. They don't have to compromise your ambitions. Like consistency is the secret. And if you can find something that results in that same feeling, that same release, that ideally doesn't completely act against what you're trying to aspire to achieve, well then that's obviously going to be more viable long term. Because you don't want to and do you feel like there is a direct correlation between how much you enjoy something and how sustainable it's going to be as well? And do you think that your goals regarding that influence how likely you are to actually enjoy that? So if your goal is to do your best every day, you're probably going to feel proud of yourself most nights. But if your goal is to be perfect and things aren't perfect, even though it's probably going to be like, I've had this discussion with you many times and I've said, look, like the reality is I wish I could give you access to my emails because you would have more context regarding how good you actually are comparatively. You know what I mean? Like you would beat yourself up like you wouldn't believe, and you were still doing better than a lot of other clients I have that don't think anything of the slip-ups they've had. Do you know what I mean? But do you feel like the more realistic the goal, for instance, so if your goal is to do the best considering, you're going to enjoy the process a lot more? Like, do you think you're super passionate? You are, and that's why you've got that mentality. But do you feel like you're more passionate and enjoy what you do even more, be it gymnastics, be it fitness, provided, as I said, like your ambition day to day was just to do your best as opposed to nail every session because you're putting pressure on yourself is what you're actually doing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. I think that, if you enjoy anything enough, you're going to stick to it. Like, you know, and that's in any regard. Like that's with weight training, that's with the gymnastics. And like, I've just always loved them. So yeah, if you enjoy anything enough, you're going to give them 100%. You know what I mean? I don't know how many people really enjoy dieting. Like the ones that enjoy dieting, they scare me. They actually freak me out. Like it's something I feel like people should be forced to do. But like, I don't know. I wish we all loved it because it'd be so much fun. Do you know what I mean?
I'm going to work. So I'm glad not everyone loves it.
No. I mean, like I like what comes from it, but I don't like doing it. I don't think anybody does. Like that's just honest.
I know exactly what you mean. But no,
yeah.
Do you feel like all the things that you've done, do you feel like the more pressure you put on yourself, the less you enjoy it? Do you feel like that's counterproductive in a sense? So obviously, like it's great to have pressure. It's great to have expectations because obviously, like you need something to strive for. But do you feel like you're better off as far as expectations go, being mindful as to what you expect of yourself and it's setting realistic goals in that sense? As I said, like if your ambition is to be perfect every single day because you're in preparation for, again, like a show, for instance, do you think you're not going to enjoy the journey as much as you otherwise would if your ambition was just to do the best considering? Because you're going to be appreciative of the outcome anyway. So if your ambition is to be perfect every day, by the time you step on stage, you're not going to be thinking about how far you've come. You're going to be focused on all the things that you could have otherwise done that didn't go to plan.
Yeah, that's exactly how my head works. Hey, the whole process I'm going, oh, I could be doing better. I could be doing more. Or like, even if I have like the most perfect day and kill it, the next day I'm like, oh, I could have done better. I could have done this. Like, yeah, it ends up being your worst enemy. And like, I'm the first person to tell people pressure creates diamonds. Pressure is good for you. Like, but then like sometimes we need to take our own advice.
To some degree. Because I mean, like, bulls apply a lot of pressure and they destroy things.
Yeah. Yeah. too much pressure. You got a big explosion, man.
100%, but within reason. So you've also got to, it's too much pressure will result in you not acknowledging how far you've actually come and all the things you're proud of. So you, even though you've accomplished things already that most people wouldn't even dream of as far as again, like athletics go, as far as gymnastics go, but you aren't one to acknowledge that. You're always thinking, all right, what more could I do?
Yeah.
What haven't I yet done? Could I have even been better regarding those things? And I'm to be brutally honest, I'm similar. I'm very similar in a sense, but I definitely now take into consideration what I actually have absolute control over before I set goals, before I really put a lot of pressure on myself. I make sure that it is realistic and it is something that, as I said, like I'm not going to spend more days than I should crying about. That's if you enjoy what you're doing and you're in pursuit of a goal that fuels your fire, you shouldn't be spending majority of your days feeling guilty or crying. That's a red. Because what's going to happen? It's going to kill your passion for that is what you're going to do. Like you're going to associate it with those feelings as opposed to with that feeling of excitement that you should really derive from that, given that you once enjoyed that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you almost feel like as well, like a million people could message you and say, oh, like you've done so well, you've done so much, like you should be so proud of yourself. And like you say thank you, but you almost like don't believe them. You're like, I haven't done enough, but like, thanks. But
do you think it's because
what's that?
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that people struggle acknowledging, again, like the praise others have for all they've accomplished? Why do you think people struggle with that? Why do you struggle with that? Have you thought about that?
I think it's like, not too much, but I know that I'm like that. But I think in our head, everything that we do, and I think this might even come from gymnastics, if I'm totally honest with you, everything you do is a stepping stone to the next thing. So like growing up, like you learned how to do a cartwheel. That was to become a round off. That was to become a round off backflip. Like everything was a progression into the next thing, and you were never actually finished. And I feel the same in like day-to-day life. Like everything's a stepping stone to the next thing.
100%. But that's not to say that you shouldn't be proud of what you've already accomplished. So even though I understand. So when people compliment you, and I'm to a degree, I'm the same. I'm like, all right, like again, like thank you, but you haven't seen anything yet. That's my mentality as well.
Totally.
Like you actually have no idea.
You wait.
I used to always say, just give me time. Like people would compliment me, and I'd say, just give me time, and that's an unhealthy perspective to have, because that indicates to me that I wasn't actually acknowledging all that I actually sacrificed to date. And as long as you're of that, for as long as you, as I said, like, don't take the time to consider how far you've actually come, what you're doing, it's you're not really going to be as confident and proud as you otherwise should be, as you're deserving to be, given all you've accomplished. And God forbid, like there are things that we can't control, right? So for sake of conversation, if your ambition is to, as I said, like you're thinking long term, you're thinking 10 years in the future. Really, there could be things that you have absolutely no control over, could adversely affect the likelihood of you achieving that. So provided you haven't actually stopped to smell the roses, provided, as I said, you aren't already proud, you haven't stopped to acknowledge what you've already accomplished. Should something happen that, for the sake of conversation, like if you're a gymnast and you break your arm or something like that, that's going to be obviously a terrible, terrible thing. And that's really going to compromise that end goal. If you haven't stopped and considered how far you've actually come and what you've actually accomplished, well, then you're at that point in time, should that happen, you're going to find yourself in a very dark place very quickly, because you're going to feel like you've not only let yourself down, but you've, like, everything you've done until that point has been a waste. That's not the realization you want to come to. You never want to feel like, no matter where you are, that you've wasted your time unless you've actually achieved that. That's a very dangerous place to find yourself.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people in that space. They would feel like if it's a conversation with bodybuilding, there are a lot of people that are shooting for a pro status, and they feel like, until I've actually achieved that, my time has been wasted. And sometimes I've actually experienced, like, I've got friends that are in this very circumstance right now. The longer time goes on, and obviously the more they dedicate, the more they sacrifice, when they come to the realization, hang on a minute, like this might not actually be something I can achieve. I don't have to, because self-awareness results, like lack of self-awareness, it's delusion, and that results in disappointment. There's a lot of people that just don't have the to be there. And then what they end up doing, like the more they sort of become self-aware with time, the more they realize, hang on a minute, maybe I can't actually do this no matter how hard I work, because of factors I can't control. That's when they go, oh crap, I've wasted my time until this point. I feel stupid. What was I doing with my life? When the reality is, if your ambition wasn't necessary to achieve something, like if your ambition wasn't necessarily a pro card, if your ambition was to be the best athlete you potentially could, and your ambition was to take things as far as you potentially could, and that was just a bonus, well, then you're still going to be proud of yourself. And especially if you enjoy your training, you enjoy what you're doing, you're not consider it a waste of, as far as I'm concerned, if you enjoy it, that is not a waste of time. That is you can justify it that way. But as I said, like if you only consider it worth doing, if that's the outcome, well, then the likelihood of you actually being disappointed is going to be far higher. And the likelihood of you finding yourself in a very dark place is going to be far higher as well. Should, again, you come to the realization, maybe it's not for me. Because there are factors you can't control, especially as like a sportsman. Like gymnastics, if you're probably not going to be a great gymnast.
What's that, sorry?
With gymnastics, if you're 6'8", you're probably not made for gymnastics. You might love it, you might work really hard, but it's probably not for you. Like you should.
The genetic factors aren't there. It's just not going to be a thing. Yeah.
Like
Same as bodybuilding.
Exactly. Well, I'm certain I could do exactly. I could have trained exactly like you for as long as you have, and I might be able to do a cartwheel, but I definitely couldn't do the things that you're doing. I am not coordinated. It is definitely like I couldn't do a handstand. Let's be real. I've got limbs like Go-Go Gadget. I can't do what you do. One of the first.
It's one of those, I've got short limbs. I'm close to the ground. It's easier for me. I can teach it to other people, but it's true. If you're shorter and your center of gravity is better.
Yep. And then that's you can't change that. Like how tall you are is how tall you are. That's something you can't. Like if for the sake of context, that's how I actually met Kayla. I think I actually first noticed you. When I first noticed you, you were upside down, I'm pretty sure. So Kayla and I were both sponsored by Optimum Nutrition. This is going back ages and ages. Don't worry, Kayla, I'll send them the invoice for the plug. But
18 at the time.
You just turned 18 from what I remember.
Yeah.
Is what you were. From what I understand, You were their youngest athlete, from what I understand. That's how I actually met Kayla. But at the time, were you still doing gymnastics at that point in time? You were celebrating.
I had just finished school, and I'd contacted Optimum Nutrition before I turned 18, and they actually waited for me to turn 18 to bring me over to Arnold's, and actually started on my 18th birthday. So they were only just allowed to bring me over at the time. But they literally brought us over to do the handstands and to do the gymnastics and stuff. So that would have been how we met 100%.
You had like a little setup. You were doing it was I'm not even sure what you'd call that, but you had a mechanism there that allowed you.
They're called handstand bars.
That makes sense. That actually but you had some handstand bars, and I don't feel like the handstand bars are really, that's not the secret. I feel like me with a pair of handstand bars, I could do far less than you could. I don't feel like that's what makes it all that much easier. I don't feel like that's the case, because you were doing some pretty cool stuff. But that's I was like, what is going on there? And I was like, she looks pretty cool. I'm going to talk to her. And that's how we met, for those that wanted context. But
it brought some attention. Steve Cook jumped on them and had a go, and he's a great athlete as well. But it was one of those things how he was like, "I got this. Surely I got this. That looks easy." Jumps up, completely axed himself in front of his whole meet and greet. It was the best.
You're 110 kilo, my friend. That is not it's not for you. Trust me, it's not. That's if you're not 6 foot. You're not going to make the NBA. If you're over 100 kilo, you're probably not going to be the best gymnast.
It's true. It's true.
It's not made. You're not made for it, Stevie. I didn't even see. I'm self-aware. I looked at those and I just went, no, I don't want to break my arm today. I'm good. I'll watch someone else. But if anyone's going to hurt themselves, it's going to be me. 100% it's going to be me.
We're still got a whole expo to do.
Oh, well, that's yeah. They were big days too. We got smashed. They were big. I enjoyed those. That was actually really enjoyable. I have such fond memories of that weekend. I lost my voice afterwards, that's the first time that's ever happened. But man, if there was a word count, I guarantee I'd probably.
Speaking of losing voices,
are you having trouble hearing me?
No, I can hear you now. I just lost you, but you're back.
Well, if there was a word count, if there was someone giving me tabs on the amount of words everyone had said, I guarantee I was leading that list. Guarantee it.
That's actually another thing that I'm struggling with now. So when we're talking about being extreme, right? Because I PT and I talk so much, and I talk at such a high volume, again, being an extremist, 0 or 100, I have to get surgery on my voice box. I've got swelling in my voice box that I have to get cut out because my voice is permanently husky because I talk too much. 0 or 100.
That's science. That's actually
not incredible.
Does that actually? So the frequency you talk and obviously the volume you talk at, that influences that can damage the voice box. No way. It makes sense. So it's just fatigue, right? Like it's inflamed, is what you said.
So it's almost like an overuse injury, and from where it is now, because I'm never going to stop talking, it's never going to get better. It's always going to keep getting worse. So they actually have to go in and remove it.
So they remove the information. Is that what they're actually removing?
Yeah.
Reduce that.
What's that?
Nothing you can take that's going to reduce that. That's surgery you need.
Yeah. Wow. So he pretty much said the swelling's not going to go down from where it is now. He's like, we have to go in and cut it out. And then afterwards, he's like, imagine you broke your foot and had surgery and then started walking again. He goes, the surgery's going to be pointless. He goes, once we do it, you're going to have to not talk for 2 weeks so it can fully heal. And then after that, you've got to, I've got to learn how to actually bring it back, how to speak at a lower volume, how to speak less words. That seems impossible.
Well, get less excited. Be less thankful and grateful. That's literally what he said, though. He's basically said you need to tone it down.
Operate at sub-maximal.
Doctor, you don't understand. He needs to listen to this podcast, I feel. You need to, once we film it, once we record this and obviously export it, you need to send this to him. And he's going to have some content. Doctor, I'm going to need a robotic voice box. Even if it sounds like Darth Vader, just know I can't be any less excited. That would be cool, though. Could you, if they could influence the sound of your voice, that'd be cool. I'd definitely be signing up for that.
Do you reckon I don't know. I'm a bit nervous. I'm a bit nervous.
Is it going to change your voice, or is it to stop it from getting any more husky? Is that the ambition? Because it doesn't actually sound very good.
It's not too bad right now because I've just had 3 days off work. So I didn't work Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I actually had to have Saturday off. I cancelled clients because I had no voice come Friday. So I'd done like, I think it was like last week I did like 40 sessions over 4 days and my voice had just had it. Like that's talking the whole time. Then I had to cancel. So see how it's not sustainable though? Because I had to cancel because I couldn't talk. Like
that's part of your sell point though, right? Like that's you more or less making apparent that you care, making apparent you're invested. That's you can't, part of the service provider, you can't not talk.
Yeah, just another one of those things how it's like a blessing and a curse to like go 100 and everything. You know what I mean?
I'm surprised I haven't had that. I'm surprised because I'm there as well. Like that's interesting. But see, I feel like my voice getting more husky wouldn't be an issue. I feel like that's fantastic. Maybe that's why it's as low as it is because I've just damaged it so badly. Maybe it's super flat.
You're a lot more monotone than me. Like I'm like always yelling. Like I'm talking now, but I'm yelling.
I do see what you're doing though, but it's good. Like that's I knew you'd be perfect to have this conversation with. So to get back to what we were actually talking about, before your voice gets any more husky, what would your advice be to someone that has a similar mentality to the mentality you have or have had before? Like to be less harsh on themselves or to realize that consistency is better than perfection. What would your advice be?
Yeah, totally. Like so the lessons that I'm learning now, and I wish like I'd actually had someone to have this kind of conversation with me because I feel like it's something that's just never really spoken about. You know what I mean? Like I wish that I was told that it's okay to not.
You haven't had a conversation before? Is that what you just said?
I hadn't before you.
Okay. I'm glad you clarified.
You get what I'm saying? I've gone this whole time on just like this cycle. Like before I started speaking to you, that like if I wasn't going to have the best training session that day and go the hardest and lift the heaviest, like I almost just didn't even go. Like I'm still learning now, like I said, but like it's okay to have a session that you're operating at 50 or 60%. Like it's okay to just go for a light walk or just have a stretch that day and like listen to your body and to, not have to give everything 100% all the time so that you can get everything done. Like you could do like a hard ass leg session. That's your best leg session ever, but then you can't train them again for a week. Like what's the point? You're better off like doing a session that's at less volume and then doing 2 or 3 sessions. You know what I mean?
You're not going to hit a PB every session. Like simple as that. Like if it's like no matter what sport you're in, no matter what you're actually doing, you're not going to have the best day every day because there are factors you cannot control that are going to influence your productivity. They're going to influence your mood. There are so many things that will influence how you feel about that day that you don't necessarily have absolute control over. It's not a realistic expectation. And that would be my advice. Like again, taking into consideration the likelihood of things actually being perfect, and then taking into consideration how you feel when they're not. And as I said, if you're spending more days upset and guilty than you are happy, despite enjoying what you do, you need to reassess your goals. You need to reassess your perspective. Like totally. You're way happier. Like check-in wise, the last 2-3 check-ins from you, they've been so much better because I could actually pull them up. I could pull them up, and you would have. There'd be the smallest things that you would make reference to, and you would beat yourself up like you wouldn't believe. Like you wouldn't. I'd literally have to say, Kayla, like you're being ridiculous. Relax. Like he's like again. Like I wish I could give you access to my email so you actually had some context. And that might be what they actually like. Obviously, listening to this chat, it's going to benefit them because we can put things in perspective. But it might be viable for them to actually allow themselves some context. Like talk to someone that you would like to be in the position of. So for example, people put others on pedestals. They look at world champions. They look at other athletes, like obviously subject to what you're interested in, but they look at other businessmen, all that kind of stuff. And they go, oh man, like that person must just be perfect every single day. Like reach out, send them a message and say, hey, just out of curiosity, like it's do you have good and bad days? And like how often do you have those days? Allow you to have that context. And when you realize that those individuals, the reason they're in the circumstance they are is because they don't dwell and they literally just do the best they can and get on with things, then you're going to go, okay, like I don't have to be perfect every day because they're not, and they're still in the position that I would like to be in.
Yeah, that's why I like the ones that like actually show their vulnerabilities and talk about them, because then people can actually relate to them and they feel a little bit more normal. I think like the hardest thing, like before speaking to somebody like you was I thought that I was the only one who was like this, and then you would even make me take a step back and you'd be like, Kayla, the most elite of people are the ones that suffer with this the most. Like it's just the way it is, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're not the only one and a lot of people feel the same, but I wish there were more people that spoke about it.
reach out because you were like embarrassed to a degree, right? Like you thought, all right, like obviously this is just something I'm struggling with. No one's going to understand, one, but two, there's like whoever I'm reaching out to someone that I would like to be in the position of. Of course they're perfect. You assume, right? Like you just go, you know what? Like they must be because of what they've achieved. Like their circumstances phenomenal. I would love to be in that position. They must be perfect. It's not the way it is. Like again, reach out to that individual. If you message, I guarantee you message Lauren, you message Hattie, they're going to say, hey, I also have bad days. For the sake of, you message Ty once, he's going to say, look, I also have really bad, some days I can't swing to save myself. Probably not save myself. Probably sort of smoke me, but I guarantee like he's not having the best day every day. Guarantee it. Guarantee.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people don't talk about it as well because they feel like if they talk about their problems, they're whinging, but sometimes that's not the way. Sometimes they're actually just looking for ways to actually improve. Like when I talk to you and I'm telling you about what's going on, I'm not like, oh, my life, like this sucks. I'm actually just looking for you to like, give me advice. You know what I mean? Like to improve.
Depends on your ambition. So if you're talking about it and you have no intention of actually acting or you're not actually interested in a solution, well, then that's a waste of time. You're wasting someone's time. You're talking because you would like to hear someone's perspective regarding your issues and you're intending to take their perspective into consideration because it might influence what you do to resolve that issue. Completely different. That's not complaining. That's called problem solving. That's what that is. Like people that get things done the fastest, the people that, as far as I'm concerned, are the smartest, are those that accept more readily that are of the understanding that there are tons of things that they don't know and that's okay, because it renders them inclined to actually reach out and ask. You're not going to know if you don't ask. Is really what it boils down to. And you can't expect to know everything. And you can't expect to have an answer to something that you haven't had experience regarding. Like I can't teach someone to ride a bike if I've never ridden a bike. So obviously like you can't expect to know how to overcome like that mindset, that perspective until you've actually done it and until you've actually spoken to someone that's done it. Like that's how that works.
Yeah, a lot of people have actually said that to me. They're like, you're a coach. Why do you have a coach? Like, I'm like, of course I have a coach. I need to learn. Like, I don't know everything. Like, I'll even go and see a life coach. Like, we're just born. We don't know how to do life. Like, we need to ask questions, man. Like, we just got put here. What now? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, people say that to me all the time.
Everyone's got a field of expertise. That's the reality. So everyone, no one except maybe like Elon Musk is good at everything. That's the reality of the situation. No one's good at everything. It's always something to from often you wouldn't even expect. So obviously, like if you've got a coach, you release in the service of the coach, you understand, like you reached out to that individual because you want to learn more regarding that particular thing. But even just conversations in general, there are going to be people that are a lot more insightful than you would probably give them credit. Like that's just how that works. Like I know people that I wouldn't consider all that successful by my definition that are extremely successful by theirs and really good at what they've invested time in. But that's really what it comes down to. You can't write someone off before actually having had that conversation with them.
Yeah, totally.
Totally. I really hope that this conversation results in obviously more people reaching out first and foremost, but again, like people accepting that more likely than not, things are not going to be perfect. Like that's just the way it works. If your ambition is to have a perfect day every day, you're going to be crying majority of nights and you're going to feel guilty majority of nights. Consistency is far more important than perfection, way more important, because perfection is not real. It's not real.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need to reach out to someone a bit higher to teach you that. You know what I mean? Far out.
Look at the person that's got the least hair. They've probably stressed the most about that. So like I feel like my hairline's an indication as to how much time I've spent worrying about this sort of stuff. So obviously yours is better than mine. So I obviously spent more time than you. So I'm going to have a different perspective to you. There's a reason I'm wearing a hat.
Oh, why you got a hat on? Take the hat off, Chris.
See, look what actually has happened, and you'll get like it for those that want to laugh. You'll get a laugh. So I've had my full body lasered. So like I'm hairless from not at the moment. I haven't had laser in like 6 weeks. My back is not great, but
Rufus from Kim Possible.
Sorry.
Rufus from Kim Possible, the naked mole rat man.
The eyebrows down. So I had.
Oh, the hat's off.
I had my hairline lasered as well, and basically it wasn't lasered evenly. So if I look down, you'll see one side actually comes up higher than the other. And I've got to live with that. Like I thought it was a good idea at the time. Just heads up, if you're considering having your hairline done, don't do it. Like just, it's not a good idea because now there's no going back from that. There's nothing I could do now. That's that. So
inconsistent.
I'm going to get it tattooed is what I'm actually going to do. And that's why I keep it super short. So it's not, the longer it grows, the darker it gets, the more obvious it is that, like,
oh my God, Chris.
it's bad, right? I know. But I get a laugh out of it. And obviously, like for me, I'm accountable. So I chose to do that. It's 100% on me. Like that was a stupid decision. And I can now, the benefit is I can now tell other people not to do it. So that's cool. I'm doing everyone a service, basically. I took it for the team is what I did.
Barbershop. Don't make the mistakes I made. Reach to someone a little bit higher who's learned the hard way, and that's why we're here.
At that point, I thought I knew better. I should have reached out is what I should have done and spoken to someone that had already made that mistake. But yeah, I didn't. But but no, under harsh, I legitimately look bald. Like legitimately bald.
I kind of knew we were going to end up somewhere random like this.
We've had you are again, like I have every ambition of having several calls with you, not just about this, but I feel like there are so many things that we can talk about given how honest you're willing to be, and obviously given how real and genuine you are. There are so many people that I've had podcasts with, and they really, an honest answer requires no preparation. So it's super obvious you're being honest. There are people that will sit and ponder answers to questions for the better part of 30, 40 seconds. It's super obvious that you're being strategic, and that doesn't benefit anyone. You being strategic does not benefit anyone. The more relatable you are, the more honest you are, the more these chats are going to benefit those listening. And that's the ambition. I can't wait to post this because I know there are so many people in the same boat as you that are going to benefit from you. Like it's
honestly, like even if you give me a list of questions to read over, like I don't want to sit there and think about what like the best answer was going to be. You know what I mean? Like I just, you know what I mean? Like even,
I had questions prepared. I sent them, like I more or less gave you like a blueprint to a degree. I haven't looked at my phone once. yeah,
legit. But like, yeah, it's coming from a real place. I'm not going to sit there and think about what I'm going to respond or not. Like if it's coming from an honest place, you should know what your answer is. You know what I mean?
You're right. The honest answer requires no preparation. It is that. But these sort of chats, there's a lot of people that aren't comfortable having them because you've got to be vulnerable to a degree. You've got to accept that's a problem. You've got to accept that obviously that's a problem of yours in particular.
Yeah.
But again, like you're obviously more interested, and that's why you're such a good PT. I said that to begin with. You're more interested. Like it's your ambition is to help as many people as you can, whatever way you can. That's your ambition, and that is why you're phenomenal at what you do, and you're a good PT.
Oh, thank you. I feel like I would trust somebody else more if they told me something about themselves first, and then I feel like I can then tell them something about me. So like, yeah, as a trainer, for them to go, oh, I've suffered with binging before. Then as a client, they'd go, you know what, I did that last night straight away. But if you don't show them that first, then they don't have that same trust with you. You know what I mean? Like,
it's your as a coach to ensure that your clients are as comfortable as possible and inclined as they could potentially be to make apparent to you what they're doing. Because it's your job to make things easy for them. That's literally what you do. That's literally. So like me taking off my hat, that was a strategy. I'm making myself vulnerable so you're inclined to be more vulnerable. Strategy. But
it's just how I am. I'm not going to beat around the bush. Like this is me. But there are some times when things are really good, but like people aren't really interested to know about how good you're doing. Like they want to know how you got there and how you learned how to be better. Do you know what I mean?
Issue as well though. There's like as you understand, social media is a highlight reel. So there's people that people only post. Well, 95% of people, 99% of people, sorry, they only talk about the things that they're proud of. They only talk, which is all well and good. They only post about things that are going right. And they only things that are going right. So it's very easy when you are suffering with certain things. When you are, if you don't have context, you haven't allowed yourself the context. It's easy to be of the understanding. Everyone that's in the position that you would like to be in, they are perfect. Things don't go wrong for them. So like I love seeing posts where big influencers, especially in the fitness industry, will admit to having issues, will admit to struggling with certain things. But there are so many that don't. They put themselves on a pedestal. Everyone else puts them on a pedestal. And they feel like they're following, they back themselves into a corner to a degree because they're of the understanding if they don't make apparent they're perfect, their audience is going to be disappointed, which is not the case. You're going to be more relatable should you be honest regarding your struggles. Because I know, like for the sake of conversation, I know I've worked with world champions. I've worked with like some very celebrated athletes. I know some of them struggle with binge eating, but they are not going to admit that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
which breaks my heart to a degree because I know how many people they could really help by doing that.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think the whole coronavirus thing has been a massive thing with that as well. Like, I was even saying to the girls, I was like, what, we're in week 6 now? I've only just started enjoying training from home last week. Like, if you're sitting at home and you're going, I hate this, I can't train at home, rah, 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 I'm like, it's not you. It's actually just like the situation we're in. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people are feeling it. I love training. I've always loved training, but it's taken me 6 weeks to enjoy this. Like, it's just going to take time, and it's normal, you know? And I think a lot of the big influencers have kind of opened up a little bit with all this kind of stuff going on, which is nice.
Yeah, well, I admit, I don't consider myself a big influence, but I admit all the time, I don't like home workouts. The reality is, like, see, so for me, I'm never going to enjoy home workouts to the degree that I enjoy training in the gym. It's never going to happen. I've accepted that. I just don't find it as fun. You don't have to. Like, anyone that plays basketball religiously is not going to enjoy playing baseball. But the reality is, if all the basketball courts, it shows shows how much I love sports, right? Basketball field, basketball court. If all the basketball courts were closed, if all the basketball courts are closed,
Strict bodybuilding.
is baseball, well, then that's what you're going to do, right? So, like, at the moment for me, like, I understand that it's better than nothing. I don't enjoy it, but it's still getting me closer to where I want to be. It's still, like, I'm motivated by that end goal, that long-term ambition. I'm motivated by the benefits that it results in. I'm not motivated to train because I'm actually enjoying my training necessarily, and I definitely don't enjoy it comparatively, but I still understand interest. So the second gym's reopen, I'm not going to keep doing this banded bullshit. No way.
Yeah. That's where you can't be in that perfection mentality because, you're not going to have a perfect session. You don't have the right tools. You know what I mean?
Everyone were honest. Like, none of these influencers, I've seen some left of field stuff. I've seen people like leg pressing couches and stuff. That's not necessary. What are you doing? You know who I'm talking about, but I've seen that. And I'm like, what are you actually doing? And you can't, like, everyone's on there, like, jump on my live. I can't wait to do this home workout today. No, you don't want to do that home workout.
Just be real.
Jump on the live. Let's have this shit home workout. Let's do this shit home workout together. Like, let's look at the positives. Let's look at it. This is an opportunity for us to get together. And again, like, you can, as I said, like, if you're honest in that sense, people are going to find you more relatable. That's the real secret. Like, if you want to be honest, be honest. That's what it comes down to. And it's business wise. To be as honest as possible as well. Like, I tell people all the time, hey, like, if you want to book a consultation with me, you're welcome to do so. Just understand, if you get me on the phone, I'm selling you something. Just so you know, I'm going to sell you something. Like,
That's honest, bro. That's what you are. Like,
100%. Limitless is not a charity. Limitless is not a charity. I've really, really enjoyed this chat, Kayla. I have.
I totally get what you mean. I'd actually probably be more likely to be sold because you're like, I'm selling you something. I'm like, oh, all right, well, I'm in. Don't beat around the bush.
If I were to call you, not make that apparent prior, if I were to say, hey, like, I'm not going to try and sell you anything. I just want to get you on the phone. I want to help you. I get you on the phone and I try and sell you something. You're going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
And it's not, if you're not being honest, it's not sustainable. That's the thing. So the reality is all these influencers that talk about being perfect, as I said, like, they're putting pressure on themselves to be perceived that way. And it's going to come unstuck at some stage. And then at that point, you can't pretend any longer. Your entire audience is going to go, well, was that just a facade? Can I actually trust this person? And everything's going to come crashing down. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. They'll lose that trust. I totally agree. Totally.
Honest regarding your problems. You don't just have to, I feel like the posts that result in the most engagement for me, the posts that help the most people, are the posts where I talk about things I've struggled with. I really do. Like, these chats, like these chats, I really feel like this conversation is more beneficial to more people than us sitting here talking about how great we are as athletes. Well, you sitting here talking about how great you are as an athlete. Me, what am I good at, Kayla? What would you describe me as good at, Kayla? Sales? I could talk sales all day, really.
You're a good businessman. How many businesses do you have?
There are people.
You're a good businessman. You're a people person. You're a good coach. You're smart. Jesus Christ, give yourself some credit, boy. Why are you asking me?
But stop it, Kayla. No.
Are you still going to write that book?
I'm blushing. Yeah, I crack myself up. I'm torn between the title, like the autobiography. It's either going to be Shameless or I Crack Myself Up. They're both applicable, I feel. They're both extremely relevant titles. That's the thing. Like, no one's going to, I could sit here all day and talk about the money I've made and the way I've done it, it doesn't really benefit that many people. This is going to benefit a lot more people. It really is. And it shows like it more those those that have been put up on pedestals, the more they make apparent they have flaws as well, the more motivated everyone will be. That's how it works as well. You want to motivate people, talk about your issues, talk about your flaws, and more or less educate people that it is achievable, even if you do have flaws. Because everyone's looking at you and they think you're perfect. You're not. Be honest in that. It's gonna result in so much appreciation. It really will.
Yeah, like, and I wish people would understand as well. And like I said, like I'm only just putting this together now. You helped me realize this, is that like you're not going to be all at the same time. The best version of yourself as an athlete, and the best version of yourself as a business owner, and the best version of yourself as like making money. Like they're all not going to happen at the same time, because if you're giving them all 100, something's always going to fall behind. Like sometimes you got to go, okay, I'm going to train harder now. I'm going to be the best version of an athlete I can be, but I need to sacrifice my business and sacrifice my income a little bit, and then later on swap it again. Like, but yeah, like trying to do all of them all the time at 100, that's when those little fallouts happen.
Simple math. Like not everything can be 100%. It doesn't work like that. Like it does. So obviously there are things that you can't make sacrifices regarding. So you've got to work, right? You've got to work. You need some social time so you don't go crazy, right? So let's say for sake of conversation, they're both 15%. So the other 70, that can go into training. That can go into like obviously you being the best athlete you can, and you're obviously giving like that's 70% of your time, and with the time you're spending doing that, you're dedicating 100% effort to. But you can't go 100% business wise. Like you can only have one's first priority. That's the reality of the situation. So for me, like if I'm training and my phone goes off and I've got the potential to sell some shit, I'm selling some shit. Like that's my priority.
Yeah. So I actually went through a stage. I don't know if this happened to you or anyone else before. I actually went through a stage where I realized I was like, I operate the best when I'm by myself. So I was doing everything by myself. I was training and I was working. Like I would just like fully like just pull myself aside. I reckon if I went, I'm going to spend like 70% of my time on business, then 20% on work, then 20% on social, that's how I'm going to do it. But I just went, no, I operate best on my own. So I completely whacked the social aspect out and like literally just focused on those things I could do while I was by myself. Like that's not healthy.
See, I'm going to have a different opinion to you. So basically, I feel like the more opinions you take into consideration, the more overwhelming everything becomes. That's how it works. When you're by yourself, it's only your opinion you're taking into consideration. So you're going to do what you want to do when you do it, when you want to do it. That's how it works. So obviously, if you've got, and we've had this discussion, when you've got friends in your ear telling you that you should be spending time with them, or like you owe it to them, or you feel compelled to do that. Reality is, like, it's left to your own devices. You probably wouldn't dedicate that time because it's just not a priority of yours. But you're only considering doing that, and the reason as to why you're going to be inclined to is because, as I said, like they've made apparent you should and you value their opinion. And while you're spending time, what I'm thinking is really this time could be better spent doing what I actually want to do. So for me, like, truthfully, I've always been. I attribute that understanding, like I attribute what I've accomplished and again, like how quickly I've done it, to that understanding, that perspective. I will always, I put my opinion first. I value my own opinion above anyone else's. And that is why, like, and people confuse that with being selfish, but the reality is it's, if you're not happy, you're useless to everyone and you can't actually help anyone. So I won't help anyone because I feel obligated to. I'll help people because I want to help them. I'll make time for people when I want to make time. If I don't want to make time, I'm not going to do it, because the reality is that's going to compromise my happiness. And as I said, if I'm not happy, I'm useless to everyone.
So do you feel like you're happiest when your business is going your best rather than when you're in like a social like kind of atmosphere? Like you're happiest when you feel like you've done your best working day? Does that make sense?
Follow me on Instagram, right? You do, 100%.
Yeah. I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
There's every day. So I cannot tell you a day, the last 5 years, I haven't invested at least 10 hours working. At least 10 hours. Like I'm talking Christmas, New Year. Yeah, I haven't had a complete day off in a very, very long time. Even and
it hasn't felt like unsustainable for you because it's what you enjoy.
It's my deal. This is what I haven't understood. What makes me tick? I have an understanding, and so a lot of people look at that and they'll go, "Oh wow, he must be so unhappy. He's obviously trying to avoid problems." No. Like all my problems, every time that I have felt like I'm letting myself down, or I felt like I am least happy when I am doing something that I understand isn't in my best interest because someone else wants me to. That's when I'm happy. So for me, like it's my social life's never been, I've never put that on a pedestal. That's not a priority. the more understanding you have as to what your priorities are, the happier you're going to be. Because you're not going to, as I said, like it's very easy. Like it's an order of operation. That's what it comes down to. So as I said, like I know what's most important to me and I'll address it in that order. So should I have time to socialize, which I never do because I occupy my time as efficiently as I can. Like doing the things that I understand are in my best interest long term, I don't make time for that. But if I were to allocate, say, 3 hours a day to being social because someone's told me that I need to do that, during that 3 hours, I'm going to be miserable because I'm going to be thinking about what else I could do in those 3 hours. It's going to eat. And not many people are like that. Like I understand that's me. And I can't tell you how you should structure your day or what you should do or what your priority should be. Only you know that. No one else's opinion. And it's no one can ever tell you that your priorities are out of order in the sense that no one has the context you do. Like as I said, you know yourself better than anyone. You know what makes you tick. So it's a bad idea taking advice from anyone regarding what they believe is going to make you happy. Because what makes them happy is based on their priorities and it's based on the context they have. Your context is different. So no one can tell you. I can't say, like as I said, I love working. If I were to say, all right, Kayla, if you want to be happy because I'm happy, here's what you need to do. If you were to do what I do every day, you'd be miserable. I guarantee it.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting perspective. I like that. I reckon I'm still going to be figuring it out over time. Do you know what I mean? Like I might even feel like I need to be socializing because I'm 22 and that's what I'm supposed to be doing. But like maybe that's not, like, do you get what I mean?
100%. Like it's social expectations is what that is. Like
that's why I'm here. Like
you feel like you should, but the reality is there is no should. Should is based on there is no should, right? So again, it's like saying you should be married by the time you're 30. You should have kids by the time you're 30. Like who? Why? Why should I? Like it's you don't know. You might not want kids. So it should you if you don't want kids? Like is it worth? Nothing is worth compromising your own happiness for. So as I said, what people need to understand as well, your perspective, like it's subject to you. Like your context shapes perspectives. The more you experience, the more you allow yourself to experience. As I said, like you will start to derive fulfillment through different things. And your perspective can change. So had you asked me 5 years ago, what did I want to do? I wanted to be the biggest man walking around. I've since allowed myself context regarding different things and my perspective has changed. There are things I enjoy more than bodybuilding and they're now my priority. I don't consider the time. So time spent better understanding yourself is not time wasted. So everything you're doing right now, that is allowing you more context and a better understanding as to what makes you you. So you might not have actually stumbled upon I recommend if you don't know what actually makes you happy, try as many things you can because you might not have actually stumbled upon what actually makes you happy. And when you find that thing, you might throw fitness to the wind. You never actually know. But as I said, the perspective to have is not that fitness was a waste of my time. It's that fitness got me to this point and fitness is the reason I then tried this. And now I'm happier than I've ever been because of that. That's how it works.
Just constant trial and error and your mind's going to change over time. You know what I mean?
Literally. Should. No one can tell you that's like saying you should work this job. Like no one, what do you mean I should work this job? Like you should do this, you should do that. It's regurgitated information. No one can actually tell you what you should do to make you happy. Only you know that. Only you have an answer. There is no, that's as I said, like if you were to do what I do that results in me being happy, you would be legitimately miserable. Guarantee it. Because your values are different to mine, right? Like same for a lot of people. Like no one should make you feel guilty for spending the day the way that you want to spend it. That's where a lot of people go wrong as well. Like parents are the worst for it. They'll see you socializing or they'll see you doing something that they don't derive fulfillment through, and they'll be like, "What are you wasting your time for?" Like kids playing video games for the sake of conversation. What are you wasting your time for? Get outside. That's more fun. Well, yeah, mum, you think that's more fun, but I don't. And you can't tell me, no matter how often you tell me to get outside, no matter how often you tell me that it's more fun, I'm not going to perceive it that way. You don't have the context I have. I like this. You don't. You just accept that. You understand that. Like that's the realization that everyone needs to come to.
So are you saying I work 10 hours a day every day, but I'm not going to, and like, yes, that's made me really successful. And yes, that's made me the best version of who I want to be, but I'm not going to recommend that you do that. Like, try it maybe, but I'm not going to tell you to do what I did to get where I did, because we're just not the same. That's what you're saying?
Literally. So it's I can't think of a day that I haven't worked at least 10. So I'm normally up here in this office for probably like 14 to 16 every single day. And I'm in a position now financially, I don't have to. I can do what I want to do. I could very well, I could literally do what I want to do. If I wanted to do nothing but play violin tomorrow for the sake of conversation, I could. But as I do what I do day to day because it makes me happy, because I enjoy it. I am not going to tell, my ambition is not to tell you, I can't tell you what's going to make you happy. I can't tell you what you should do. What I'm trying to do, and the conversations I most enjoy having, is conversations that result in you developing a better understanding as to like what makes you you. I can tell you what I did to come to the understanding that I have. I can tell you the questions I asked myself that gave me an insight as to what was going to make me happy. But I can't tell you what you should do. I can tell you what you need to consider, and and I can tell you not to value the opinions of others. That's what I can tell you to do in that sense.
Yeah, honestly, this conversation's even got me thinking about that. Like, I thought I had it covered. Like, I thought I knew what I liked to like fill my day with. But even me myself in this conversation, I'm even going, wait a second,
Yeah.
like what is it? Do you know what I mean? So it's good.
Write down, once we finish this call, write everything down. Write down what you do day to day, and then take into consideration whether you want to do it or you're doing it because you feel like you should. And it's going to have a profound impact on your happiness, promise you. And that as you understand, like who you are, the more successful you're going to be by your own definition. Because that should be the happy as possible. Because that's you're going to be the only chance you have of being exceptional in something is something you're actually pretty enthused by, pretty happy doing.
Yeah, I think that'll be a good thing for people to hear. I think a lot of people fill voids all the time because they don't know what they want. So they like hang out with their friends. It's just like to fill a void, but they're not actually getting to where they want to be, but they're happy because they're in an environment and they're laughing and they're not thinking about it. Do you know what I mean? They're not thinking about anything.
People go out and drink. People go to restaurants and post on social media because they want other people they want to be perceived as normal. But there is no, there is no normal. There is no average. Like if you're doing that, what you're actually doing is you're creating habits that aren't actually sustainable for you. It's what you're actually doing. What you're actually doing is you're going to surround yourself, because you're pretending, with people that are interested in doing that, even though you're not. And you're going to feel like if you aren't that person, you don't keep pretending, you're going to be very lonely. You dig yourself a hole. What you do is what you actually do. And then you feel pressured because you understand that if you weren't interested in that, no one's going to hang around you. You feel pressured to keep doing that. And the cost of your happiness is the cost. So as I said, like my advice, value your opinion above everyone else's, especially regarding matters of relation to your happiness. Simple as that. Audit your day, write everything down, take into consideration how much time you're actually spending doing the things that you want to do, or what you're actually doing, you have chosen to do. And I guarantee there are going to be some things on that list that aren't actually things you want to do, and they're probably making you more upset. And you don't actually have to do those things.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people struggle saying no. A lot of people really struggle saying no.
I agree.
Yeah. This went on a completely different tangent. This is not the conversation I was expecting to have, but I'm glad. I'm so glad we had it.
What's that?
I'm so glad we had it, though. It's thought-provoking. So glad.
I felt like that was going to happen. I felt like we're going to go into other topics, but like still like no more or less important. Do you get what I'm saying?
If no one's told you already, this is something you are really, really good at. Just so you know, you are very good at efficiently communicating your ideas. Not many people are very good at it. Not many people are, again, like definitely not as good as you. So this, if you haven't already, like as you said to begin with, you've been talking shit for years. You just haven't podcasted before. I highly recommend you start. Honestly though, I highly recommend you start doing it, because you were really good. I guarantee you, everyone's going to agree.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you taking the time as well. So like if they want to, if people want to follow you, Kayla, given obviously that all you've made apparent about yourself, and I highly recommend you follow Kayla as well, because she's a ball of fun, and you can keep an eye on her for me as well. So if she's out drinking, make sure you send me that story, so I'm going to have a point of reference regarding why her
Tell her to go home.
Doing your check-in. Yeah, 100%. Send her a message, tell her to go home. But no, if people want to follow you, if they want to get in contact with you, what are your details? How are you best contactable?
Usually over Instagram. Instagram. What's that?
Plug yourself, Kayla. Go on, plug yourself.
Do you want me to spell it out?
Instagram.
I'll spell it out.
And if you live, because are you still taking on clients at the moment? Because you're a PT. Are you taking clients?
I'm about to cap it. So I just took on my last new client just today, but now I'm going to cap it because it's getting really busy. It's booking out. But don't put this on. You can cut this out.
Kayla's waiting list.
Yeah, please don't put this in. No, but over time, I'm creating some space now so that I can actually do online stuff because there's stuff that I want to do. I want to do online, but I haven't told anyone yet, so you can't put this in. But yeah, no. So I'm capping my clients so that I have time to do something that's just on another avenue. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I'm all for
you know, I am PTing in the shower. I'm just doing it from my home at the moment on our back balcony. And like, it's been so much fun. I panic bought a bunch of dumbbells. We've been having the best time. So, I'm really stoked with it. Do you still want me to shout my name out?
Plug yourself, Kayla. Like I promise you, a lot of people are going to benefit from this conversation. If you enjoyed hearing Kayla and I talk, send her a message. Thank her for being as honest as she's been. Thank her for being the person that she is. And if you want her back and if you'd like to hear us talk about something in particular, let either me or Kayla know. Let us know what you would like to hear us talk about because given how well this conversation has gone, I'm 100% certain I'm going to get Kayla back no matter what. But if you want to have an input as to what we talk about, either let Kayla know or let myself know. So Kayla, your details, go.
I forget now. No, I'm kidding. It's Kayla Daly. That's KAYLAHDALY. And seriously, message me whenever. I'm exactly the same as you guys. I'm a 22-year-old girl, and I'm trying to train hard. I'm trying to work hard. I'm still suffering all the same thing you guys are suffering, but I'm just doing my best considering. Thanks to Chris. So, I totally understand. Whatever. No, he's helping me. He's helped me heaps. He's laughing at me right now.
That wasn't. She wasn't paid to say that. Just to clarify.
No. I'm honest. You know this. You've helped me heaps. I've been very lucky. So, if you feel like you're vulnerable and don't have anybody to speak to, definitely message me whenever.
Kayla obviously doesn't want fish and rice cakes in her program this week. That's why she's being so
I can't wait for my peanut butter toast, Chris.
But no, again, Kayla, thank you for your time today. I appreciate you. I really do. And I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. So we're going to know, if no one's told you yet, you were really good at this. And we are going to have this again, 100%.
Oh, you're a legend.
I appreciate you. You have a good day. I will hold the fort and do whatever it is I do.
Yeah, give me 2 slices of toast.
I'll do it now. You have a good day, Kayla.
You're a legend. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.